Okay, so are both team here? Can I confirm that are both team here? Affirmative, negative?
Yes.
Just start the speech.
Okay, so I have finished my verdict. So I just going to firstly, I'm going to give the general feedback. Then I'm going to go through what both teams have shown me and what I expected from both teams. Then I will give the verdict as well as the winning team, best speaker, everyone. I give individual feedbacks and individual score. So my speech will start in three, two, one. So the motion we are debating today is that this House bill, the artificial intelligence, should be granted legal personhood. Firstly, the first of the government team that proposition is AI should have a legal personhood. So the core thing that you have shown me to throughout the debate here, the core burden is that government must prove that the guarantee of legal personhood to AI is beneficial, partial, and more justified. So you have shown me the proposition team has shown me that firstly the AI increasingly and ultimately and secondly the current legal system are insufficient and the legal personhood for AI will improve the accountability, economy, and as well as the ethics. Firstly, is that it proves that the accountability and reliability. So AI can act independently in a way that humans cannot fully understand, and holding it to human accountability is something unfair or impossible. The legal person allow AI to hold liability directly, and AIs can be insured, fined, and compensate the victim, improving the justice. Next is so the government must rebut the opposition to this. Firstly, well, opposition argued that AI cannot have contrary and more urgency. So they talk about like legal personhood doesn't require consciously the collaboration and legal persons yet but conscious. So the opposition argued that the humans will escape responsibility and the government teams rebutted that personhood is additional accountability, not a replacement. Humans to retain this mobility for designs, deployment, and oversights. Moving on to the opposition team, AI should not have legal personhoods. So they talk about the opposition must have proved that granting the AI legal personhood is harmful, unnecessary, and impractical. So they've shown me that firstly, the AI lack consciousness, more awareness, understanding of rights. Secondly, it's granting personhoods accredited ethics, legal, and social risk. Thirdly, is that the current system are uncirculated and the human AI relates issue without personhoods. So the progeny, the main argument for opposition has made that firstly AI lack moral and conscious urgency. The legal personhood implied the moral responsibility. The AI cannot predict the consequence of action, and the moral urgency is non-negotiable for requirements for legal rights and duties. So simply, is the risk of human invasion. If AI is the legal person, humans may blame the AI for old wrongdoing, escaping accountability. For example, a self-driving car accident, human operation may claim that AI did it. So that's exactly what the opposition has proven. Opposition might emphasize the accountability erosion, and the current law can already assign ability for designer, actor, and employer. So firstly, the key examples opposition I use is that firstly self-driving car accident as the person that may allow company to avoid responsibility. And they also talk about the AI's parents. Mistake by AI should be traced to programmer, not AI itself. And AI is a medical decision. Its granting personhood could erode the hospital, the doctors, and oversights. So the clash made here is first team, both team has addressed this. Now, firstly, ultimately versus the more urgency. So the government will talk about AI act independently needs and its need the legal recognition. The opposition have talked about acting independent does not mean the more responsibility, no personhoods. And secondly, for accountability, that governments have proving that personhood increase accountability. And opposition talk about personhoods could increase accountability by letting human invade responsibility and for summary of what each team says, firstly is that for first speaker of both teams have defined AI and legal personhood clearly. Secondly, has shown that AI ultimately is will increasing, had argued that personhood improve accountability, ethics, and economy, and have about the opposition that they have the collaboration existed. AI can too, and humans remain responsible. For opposition, they define a legal person to emphasize a more urgency requirement, and secondly, they show AI cannot be more responsibility. Thirdly, is that the article personhoods could create a accountability problem and legal confusion and ethics issues. They reported that the current laws suffer and the person unnecessary. They use example in transport, finance, and medicine IP to show that human responsibility still existed. So firstly, for definition, they have proven the artificial intelligence, but sometimes you're mistaking the artificial intelligence machine, the software capable of performing tasks requiring human-like intelligence. Legal personhood, you need to define what is the legal personhood means that they're recognized under law as an entity for rights and responsibility. The context here that you guys need to actually focus on first is that AI increasingly make ultimate decision, and secondly, is in the current law holds human responsibility, not AI. And the debate centered the concerns about whether AI should have the rights, obligation, and accountability indirectly. The key application, the proposition teams improve, they need to improve accountability, ethics treatments, and economic clarity. And the opposition talk about the AI lacks of more urgency could let humans invade responsibility and legal risk, ethical risk. Okay, so that is an overall of what each team has said. So firstly, I'm going to get like some general feedback about the reply speeches. So for reply speeches, a thing here that you need to prove me is not only talking about the clashes, rebuttal for the team, but the purpose of reply speech is a reply speech is delivered by two mostly by the opening speaker, which is first and second speaker. The key responsibility is that firstly is first summarize the debate, second compare the arguments, and thirdly explain why team wins as well as winning the debate. So the important rule here is that you cannot give or no new arguments. You can clarify, emphasize, or summarize the existing argument, but you cannot bring new points. Secondly, is shorter speeches. Usually are 3 to 4 minutes, much shorter than main speeches. And they also need to focus on winning debated. So you are like the judge guides with you guiding the judge through that debate and pointing out why your side should be preferred. So the thing here is that you guys only focus on the clashes between two debates as well as rebutting that team. But the key structure here, things that you really need to focus on, important rule is that focusing on the winning debated. So winning debate, it's like you are guiding a judge into debate and why proving your team what is like your team have proved and compared to the other team and why you are surely means that you are working with your team to wins. So the thing here is that you guys need really management and engagements with as well as your team and the other team. So firstly, for general feedback of overall debate, firstly, I see that throughout the debate, I see that for opposition, they're really good good coordination between the teammates, like teamwork, and while the proposition only focus on individual speeches or through chats, which is a big problem. So for teamwork, here is that in your speeches, both you need to imagine what kind of thing that your team going to say because teamwork is very important because teamwork take over 5 and 10 points in your score, and that is big problem. Secondly, is that you also need to improve your time management. A lot of you talk for only 5 minutes, and that is only give you 3 points. So that's a also big problem you guys need to consider because in the USDC, people only credit for you if you speak for 6 to 8 minutes. So next here is a POI. So it's very important when you give POI because POI how you to engage and much more engaging with the debate. Now moving on to the individual feedback. Firstly, for proposition first speaker, so you have really logical speeches. You have great definitions and also have great stakeholder. But thing here is that you could need to also to improve about what the first speaker actually need. So you have great definition of a key definition as well as a stakeholder, but as well you need to clear what is your mechanism. So try to improve what is your team standing for as well as your mechanism. You also need to improve what the burden improve, why your teams actually existed and what we are discussing today. So you need to also reinforce, say again, and you also need the core thing here is that you need to prove to me a visualization of what your world look like. So you need to give me a clear visualization of what your world look like in your sides and compared to the other. For example, you need to know like in this motion, what does this look like? In the world today, what does your sides actually look like? So that's the main thing I need to improve. Second speaker, a proposition team. So firstly, is that you have rogue structured speech, but thing here is that try to have a clear signposting of your team. So what is your signposting? Try to say extension of first speaker and strengthen why her points, her argument still stand under the other team rebuttals. Because if that team have rebutted you a lot, try to maintain the amount of like your lack of clarity. Because of your lack of clarity, which is a big problem, try to engage and try to improve on overview for both team proposition and opposition. Try to improve on the clarity of the debate and as well as what you need to improve, what you need to speak while also managing your time. For third speaker, for up proposition, third speaker. So you have really good weighing debate as well as summarize the teammate points. But the thing you improve, area for improvement here is that you also need to add clear sampling. Most of you have lack of clarity in your speeches, and you also need a clear clashes comparatives and what this debate should be judged on. So this debate judged on three things. The restructure. Firstly is the clarity. Secondly, some kind of like you also need to talk about what this debate should be judged on, like guiding the judge into the debate. So that's what you need to improve. For opposition for speaker, opposition is that you'll have really strong bottle, but try to maintain like how like you need sort of need to talk about fluency in your speech and it's more engaging because you lack of engagement throughout the debate. So your speech sound really like let's say boring because like thing here is that you could add in like more engagement both for a teammate and the team. So thing here is that you could improve by having stronger rebuttals. You also need to burden improving your own team, adding the mechanism, and point it out what the first speaker of that team have missing. Moving on to your second speaker of opposition team is that you also need to prove why your first speaker arguments still stay and still stand in your team under the other team rebuttals. Just like the other team, now you have quite impressive framing of the debate, but also need extension for the first speaker argument. So what is your first speaker team argument? Try to extend from it. I'm giving you reasons. For third speaker, so you have really good did summarize, a really strong rebuttal, impressive rebuttal. You have really good like summarize two cases, but you also need to have like weighing on clashes as well as comparing both the debated. So try to maintain the amount of like you also need to have don't not actually focus too much on your own clashes or should like extension. Try also to like focusing on winning debate, what is the other team clashes compared to yours? And also need like your job here is to main clashes basically is what versus what and mainly about like clashes mainly about extension of first speaker as well as rebutting the all three speaker from the other team. So that generally the things that all three speaker from both team need to improve. So throughout the debate here, have I see that the winning team goes to the proposition team. So the winning team here, proposition takes the debate home. Best speaker for opposition is Pearl, and best speaker for proposition is Lily. Any question?
No.
Who is the best speaker of our two team?
Can you say again? Winning team here is the proposition team. Affirmative team. Winning team proposition. Best speaker opposition is Pearl, and best speaker for proposition is Lily.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so goodbye, guys.